So let me round up by going back on what this motion calls on Workers' Party to do. Ms. Lim and Mr. Loh continue today as elected councillors, including having financial oversight over the affairs of the Town Council. Surely this status quo cannot continue, given what the court has found. As I said at the start, the conduct in respect of which the court has found was not caused by a one-off, occasional, or even careless error. It was calculated, careful, deliberate, an outcome that was obtained by much planning, much design, and engineering. The elected councillors continue today to be in AHTC, to continue today to run the Town Council, and that includes having control and oversight over financial matters. So on this, 2 points stand out for me. First, the court found that in ensuring that the appointment of FMSS would pass muster, Ms. Lim asked for Ms. Howe and Mr. Loh to sanitize the draft report. I mentioned that earlier. Let me come back to it. Why? So that, in your own words, Ms. Lim, it would pass the auditor's eyes. Your email of 3rd August 2011. It is already astonishing enough for an elected official to ask for a report to be sanitized so that it passes the auditor's eyes. We all know what sanitize means. We all know what pass the auditor's eyes means. If it was a truthful report and you knew it to be truthful, there should be nothing that needs to be done. But clearly this was not the case here. And don't take my word for it. Look at what the judge had found about that report. It said, and I quote, "It was not truthful and painted a wholly inaccurate picture, and it sought to cloak the appointment of FMSS with a veneer of propriety." But to add insult to injury, this sanitizing was to be done by the very persons whose appointment without tender the report itself was meant to recommend. Howe and Loh. This is wrong at so many levels. Even a child knows that you don't ask the fox to guard the chicken coop or a wolf to watch the sheep. But this little episode provides an insight into the way in which affairs are being conducted at AHTC. And Ms. Lim continues in a position of having financial oversight over matters today. How can this status quo be allowed to continue? Whatever your views are on the judgment, today this judgment represents the position in law. Until it is set aside, this judgment is valid. The second point which stood out for me was the way in which the councillors, your councillors, who are supposed to be the check and the approving authority with independent judgment, were instead completely sidelined, misled, and effectively made use of. Town council meetings are very serious affairs. Councillors are charged with the responsibility to make decisions about the town they manage, and often there are significant financial repercussions. In this case, at crucial town council meetings, the court found, and again let me quote, that there had been a palpable economy of truth in the way things were disclosed at town council meetings. In particular, the decision to delegate authority to Ms. Lim to undertake matters on behalf of the town council was also obtained without proper disclosure of facts. The court found that there was, and I quote again, a deliberate and calculated move, unquote, to keep CPG and the rest of the town council in the dark about the plan to appoint FMSS without a tender being called. To give this House a sense of what happened, 2 town council meetings concerning FMSS at the relevant time were called, one in June and another in August 2011. Councillors were not told at the June 2011 meeting that a letter of intent that was being signed with, that was intended to be signed with FMSS in July 2011, even though by that time, Workers' Party had already decided to appoint FMSS. At the second town council meeting in August 2011, the councillors thought that they were going to a meeting to approve a waiver of tender in order to appoint FMSS, not knowing that FMSS had actually already been appointed, or that FMSS themselves had helped to sanitize the very report that made the recommendation about the waiver of tender over their appointment. How is that good governance? In fact, your councillors were given a very misleading picture. But what is even more stark about this episode is that not only did the Workers' Party subvert the entire system of accountability within the town council and made use of the councillors to suit their own personal and political agenda, but also that Ms. Lim kept the truth from her fellow town councillors. That I find a lot more egregious. You might well have had your own concerns over the political allegiances of CPG or AIM, but the town councillors are Workers' Party members from your own party or supporters, and they include fellow MPs in this House. That they felt that they had to mislead their own colleagues to get FMSs appointed without tender, I think speaks volumes. As I said at the start, it is your right to appeal and seek to overturn the findings. But until then, in the interim, common decency and practice requires that you recuse yourselves from having oversight of financial matters. So we call on the Workers' Party to abide by their own single thread, and I think Mr. Singh knows this well, their own single thread of transparency and accountability, and to put residents' interests first.